Hey.
Okay, now I can
Haha.
see me, but I can't see. So,
There you are.
there you are.
There you are. I
Jeez
see ya.
Louise, man. I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah. I love it.
I don't remember why the hell we met.
Welcome to This Commerce Life. This is a podcast aimed at small, medium entrepreneurs focused on commerce. I'm Phil, your host, and Kenny, your co-host, will join us as well. And we're going to talk to you about the world of retail and commerce and how things are changing in the world. Oh, I like it. I like your little thing here, the why start a coffee company.
What do you think? I don't know if it's it's definitely not perfect, but it does I'm going to go to it as well. It sort of does try to sort of encapsulate why we started the coffee company. And then if you look at if you go to the bar page, so I'm gonna get some free advice out of you. That's what we're doing this for.
Yeah, bring it on, baby.
Why
else are we doing this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell, right?
Yeah.
So I want to just go back to my yeah. It's okay, right?
No, I like it. I think it could get, you could tune it up a little, so a bit tighter would be great.
Yeah, but remember, I write like I talk.
Yeah. No, I'm the same, right? And then there's a really smart girl at work who kind of goes, yeah, so I took your 8 sentences and made it 2.
I know.
And I go,
you know what?
Oh, cool.
You know what it is, though?
You know? Yeah.
But if I knew you wrote it,
yeah,
I would look at it and say, well, that's not Phil.
No, she's actually, so here's the thing is, so she's good enough that she actually makes it sound like me. Just more concise, which scares me a little, right? Because I'm like, wait, if you can do that with my crap, like, I'm a little worried, right? Like, but she can do that. She kind of works
too
wonders.
Bright.
So yeah, I like it. So
yeah, she's freaking me out. She's a little.
Yeah. So I think I would want to tune it up. I would want to tune it up so one, you don't scroll.
Yeah, I know, but that's making me kind of cut down verbiage. You know me, I'm not that.
Yeah. And then I would, let's see here. So, flavors touring Europe. I like this. Yeah, kind of like the second half of the paragraph. That second paragraph, I would tune it up a little.
Okay.
I would figure out how to shrink it. I do like, I just feel like, we always do this with our like emails, and so we always check to see, and people always like nobody ever scrolls. So
yeah.
So the more you get them not to scroll, like I think if you cut a little bit out, you'd be good. But let me think about how. I might shrink it for you and see what you think of it.
Okay. And just in case, any listeners, we're on the Facebook page for the Drive Coffee Company, the Commercial Drive Coffee Company. And what we're looking at is the about. Even though this company is almost 8 years old now, it's the same thing. Everything needs a look at. Everything needs to make sure it's on brand, make sure it's on point, that you're talking to who you want to talk to. So that's why Phil and I are kind of not. Well, it's probably wasting Phil's time, but I don't really care because it's going to help me. So, and typically everything's about me. Typically,
No, Kenny, it's all no. But I for listeners, it is incredibly important, right? Is you have to go back and test and retest and test and retest, like, because sometimes you think you've got users, and then you might have all these people out there that are following you that you don't even know are following you. So you kind of need to know that you're in the right place at the right time all the time.
Exactly.
So I think it's really critical, right? So, and you're right, we should do that so some of the comments I gave Kenny is just when I click on the why start a coffee company, I love the header. I think the graphics are really cool. I'm not a graphic designer for anyone who's listening. So,
well, I shot that. That's far.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. All I'm saying is, like, there are definitely Hubba people listening to this who are laughing right now because I am not a graphics person whatsoever. So I'll look at it and go, nice photo. I'm in, right? So,
Okay, tell your Hubba people, don't criticize the
Yeah.
photo. Criticize all the words. Stay away from the photo.
But I do think the scrolling you might lose people, and then, but I like the story, so I think the story just needs to get boiled down a little bit.
Okay.
Um, I think it's a story that everyone will buy. So I actually think that you're spread out amongst millennials. You're gonna get older folks. There's
I
a
guess I'm a
lot in
lot.
there, right? So yeah. There's a lot to buy into, right? Because I think like cause-based brands or authentic brands, it's critically important, right? So I think for you that's it's a big deal. So
I
yeah.
think so. And as long as it sounds, I mean, because you know me. So, I mean, as long as it sounds like me and it
Hmm.
sounds like something we're talking about, then I'm good with it.
Hmm.
Because at the same time, I don't want to be, I don't want it to sound like someone we know because
Yeah.
that's not who's running who owns the coffee company now,
Yeah.
right? It's me,
Yeah.
and I wanted to make sure that that comes across,
Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
right? Otherwise, you lose the authenticity of it.
Yeah. No, I got you. Cool.
And
Very
then the
cool.
coffee bar is the same. So if anybody, so any listeners that want to check and critique it, I'm totally open to critiquing. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm a big boy. I mean, I might cry a little bit, but I won't cry. I won't cry publicly or on the podcast.
He might
I
he
may
might cry
block
on the
you.
podcast.
Well, I might block them, and they're not going to be allowed to download anymore. But that's a whole different argument. So, and you can't even do that because I wouldn't even know how to do that. So quite frankly, I can't even do that. So you can do it pretty much whatever you want.
If you're in Vancouver, whether you're visiting or you're there, Kenny's Coffee Bar is pretty cool. It's called the Drive Coffee Bar. It's at 1670 Commercial Drive,
I
but
love
it's super
plugs.
cool. I know, free plug.
I do. I just
Bam.
love it. You know, that might be just me, you, and the wives and the kids listening,
I
but
know.
man,
No,
we're
not
all
the
over the
not the
place.
wives, just the kids.
I just wanted to have the wives in there so people thought that actually family
Oh,
gave a shit about
yeah,
this,
yeah, 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 yeah.
even
No,
though
not
they
really.
don't. It's wishful
Oh man.
thinking, buddy. Wishful thinking.
Oh man. Oh man. Kenny, tell us about your brand. What's
Which one?
happening? The
Grasshopper?
yeah, Grasshopper.
Ah, I got delayed again. So it looks
Yeah.
like we're going to have it hopefully. CHFA,
Okay.
Canadian Health Food Association, the show in Vancouver is on 25, 26th,
Yeah.
whatever the Saturday, Sunday are.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is we'll have it in Vancouver on the 2021. I'll rip a bunch of samples off the pallet at the distributor. I'm going to
Yeah.
be at his booth anyway,
Yeah.
or his family's booth anyway, and I'm going to show it there. And then what I'll do is I'll let you know for the podcaster after that. I guess what kind of reception we got, what it
Yeah.
looks like,
Yeah.
and then we'll see.
Yeah. It's gonna be neat. I think I mean that packaging is really great. So I feel like if you take a bunch of samples there and get that into hands and people are walking around with that stuff,
That's
you're gonna generate,
that's what I'm hoping,
yeah,
right?
some buzz out of that. So that'll be
Yeah.
really cool.
You know,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to I got to book my tickets. I got to book tickets for Expo,
Yeah.
and
Natural
I'm gonna
Expo West.
yeah
Yeah.
in Anna
In Anaheim.
because I've been going to that. I mean, this would be the geez.
That's a huge show. Like
Oh, I love that
that's such a
stuff.
big show.
I think I've been going to that show now. This will be the 18th year,
Okay. Really?
18th or 19th year. It's
Wow.
fantastic. Oh my God, such a great show. But I'm thinking if I'd maybe doing the same as maybe because my distributor has a booth down there, so I might even think of bringing maybe ship a case of each down.
Okay.
Just eyeballs. Never know,
Yeah.
right? Might get some excitement out of the
Yeah.
people from California, Colorado, Washington State, Oregon, all the West Coast folks.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
know,
Maybe.
well, you know what you do if there's any listeners that know what Cascadia is. So the packaging is sort of the Cascadian flag, right?
Yeah.
Most Eastern people won't know. That's a secret we kind of keep. So that when we bust away from Canada and the States, just the West Coast goes together. So then
Yeah.
we're going to really be Hollywood North because we'll sort of be part of
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, and you'll have the nice famous product to go with it. It'll
Absolutely.
be perfect.
It's all
Perfect.
set, man. It's just like it was written. It's like a dream. Hopefully, it's not going to be my nightmare. After all this talking on podcasts, I better download her. Got all these people listening for advice, and this thing's going to fail miserably. What are you going to say?
No, Well, no, I mean, but all businesses are like that too, right? Is
Hey,
they
you
gotta
take a chance.
fail, you gotta take a chance, right? Like that's why we're entrepreneurs,
That's
right?
why you
Like,
do it, right?
otherwise you go work for a big company, right? Like,
Ooh, don't say that.
yeah.
Don't say that. We did enough of that.
We've done that before,
More than enough of that.
Oh man, yeah,
What's going
yeah.
on in your world? What's going on? What's going on with Hubba? What's going on with your
Um,
folks
Let me
there? And
see what is going on. We've been interesting enough. We've been doing a lot of talking about same sort of thing. So we actually Hubba released a white paper a couple of weeks ago. That's really all about it's about new retail, right? So it's kind of we cover the past, the present, the future a little bit, but we've been doing a lot of talking about curation and how you kind of look at what we've been talking about, right? And
yeah,
actually, this is really interesting because I want your take on this. Is we've kind of started down this path of brands that are digitally native. They've started online. They can bypass retailers, get straight to consumers. Um,
yeah,
but we're going to get to a point where there are going to be too many of these brands, right? Like there is a tipping point that where these brands are going to be able to get online. They're going to be able to sell stuff. Two things are going to happen. One is there's going to be so many brands with so many marketing messages that the consumer is going to check out in a lot of ways, right? Because there's just be too many messages for them to figure out like what is going on, how do I sort, a fake from authentic, all of those sort of things.
yeah,
And then the second piece will be wait, I've lost my second piece. The second piece will be that what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to look to someone to help them, someone that they trust to help them, figure out how this, like what brands to trust or what brands to buy,
right,
right? And so, and then the third thing is as brands, there's a limit to how far you can go direct to consumer. That you're going to be able to sell this stuff, and at some point, it's kind of like small businesses. You go door to door for so long, and then you realize like I need synergy, I need scale. How do I do that?
yeah,
And so we kind of see things swinging back in the way of small medium businesses because retail consumers are going to look to experts that are going to help them sort out who are the right brands, how do I do this, who do I buy, who do I trust, what messages should I be looking for, right? And we
yeah,
think that at those moments small medium retailers are going to be the people that are there because they're curating for a specific audience that they're going to be able to say, listen, I know who you. It's just like the guys that come to your coffee bar, right? Is you're going to be able to say, listen, I know you, right? And so there might be a jillion, these local coffee brands out there. These guys are good. Those guys are, they're fake. They bought the
yeah,
label. They're not really. Do you know what I mean? Like, and
yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah,
so what we're trying to do is kind of give hope to SMB, small medium businesses, but it's a really cool conversation about just how, you know, how this world's going to tip a little bit and how we're going to be able to swing things back. And retailers are going to have, I think SMB's got a really bright future coming up. So, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So kind of
I
heavy stuff, but, kind of cool
no, but
stuff too.
I don't know if I don't know if I'd argue with any of that. When you started, I kind of thought, yeah, I mean, the too many brands. What happens to, in my opinion, what happens with that? They're going to just weed themselves out anyway,
Hmm.
right? You got too much shit out there to buy. Sooner or later, you know what? It's going to come down to, there's just too much to look at. And then I think I would probably do the same. I'll just go to the reviews,
Hmm.
right? And the guys with the most positive type of reviews. And then I always siphon through that too. Like too many positives. I mean, okay, really bullshit,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah,
you'll kind of go to that route.
yeah,
Or I think your last point is where smart retail can actually do this. See, this is where I think the big retailers are going to have one hell of a time. Outside of the ones we always talk about,
yeah,
outside of Costco, Dollarama, Walmart, who understand their channel and their
yeah,
segment,
yeah,
those guys are, I personally think, are rock solid.
yeah,
All the other ones who are whiffly waffly all over the
yeah,
place, one day trying to be the dollar store, the next day they're trying to be
yeah,
Holt Renfrew, and then they're running the cot. You
yeah,
can't do that shit.
yeah,
So I think those big three will do it, and then I think you're right. I think it's going to be all I think there's going to be a resurgence of mom and pop.
Yeah.
I think what they're going to hopefully need is municipalities to be a little smarter with taxes. Going to have to try to figure out the rents in our two biggest cities, which is yours and mine,
Yeah.
which are crippling,
Yeah.
absolutely crippling.
Yeah.
And if we can manage those two sort of costs and a few other cost of goods, then maybe even the wages don't become the issue.
Yeah.
And we actually do have a crack at this, because I think you're
Yeah.
right. I think I would rather go in and say, hey, Phil, I know you've known you for years, and your shop's been here for 10 years.
Yep.
What do you think? Because
Yeah.
I'm going to trust you more than I'm going to trust.
Yeah.
I mean, how much
Yeah.
faith and trust I have in Loblaws?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't even give us fair bread prices for how many years, and I'm going to trust them now?
Oh my God, Kenny, that's like, we need to have that discussion too, because
That's another
oh my
day.
God, that's a whole nother.
But you know what? Okay, now that we're
yeah.
on that one,
Yeah.
so indicative of that account.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're in the industry, nothing on that surprises
No,
you.
nothing surprises you. No.
If you're not in the
No.
industry, you might be shocked and can't believe it. If you're in the industry, nothing outside of the world of reality. Sad to say.
You know, it's one of those where anyone who's kind of called on that account, we grit our teeth a little, right? Because you can't get away from them, right? Because they own all these banners. They're the biggest grocer in Canada, all of those sort of things, right? But there are a ton of times that you're just kind of going like, God, can't get away from them, really,
Yeah.
right? Like, but really don't like the practices, don't like the way they do things.
No, it's the culture of it. It's just
Yeah.
it's what they breed. And the thing is, and the sad part is because the people are nice. It's not that these people are demonic.
No.
It's just it's the corporate culture.
Yeah.
You know? And it's a shame, right? Because they've got lots of locations and they service most communities. You know, and the people that work in the stores are not bad people. And
Yeah.
the buyers are bad people. It's not
Yeah.
a bad, but
Yeah.
to me it's just bad corporate culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're little
think so.
independents. You know, I mean, I was at a little independent. Next time you come to Vancouver, I'll take you to Donald's Markets.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, no, I've been there. That's the one
Okay.
down the street on Commercial Drive, right?
That's right.
Near
That's
the train station.
Yeah, it's close. That's
Yeah.
right, close to the train station.
Yeah.
4 stores, super nice family.
Yeah.
Right, everybody involved, but again, actually trying to make a bit of a difference and actually give a shit about their customers. Imagine
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So actually, neat story about the Donald's store there. I don't know. I met one of the family. I don't know which one, because I was in there. I was on a mission while I was in. Yeah, I was on a mission in Vancouver. So one of the people at Hubba, she has a nephew who really loves Spitz, so like the Spitz sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds.
Yeah.
And there's a really obscure Spitz SKU that he wanted. It was a pumpkin seed SKU that wasn't seem to carry anywhere on the East Coast. It was only in the West Coast. So I went looking for this thing. I promised her. I said, listen, I'll look for it. I'm retail Phil, for God's sakes. I should be able to find this, right? So so I went everywhere. I couldn't find it, right? But I was in that store, and Donald's was the only one, even out of all the mom and pops I went to, Donald's was the only one where the guy was like, what? You're obviously looking for something. Like, what are you looking for? And then I told him, and he said, okay, I'll look it up for you. So he looked it up for me. He said, yeah, we carry it from time to time. I don't know where it is. Let me call. And so he started calling these people. He started calling reps. And I said to him, listen, like, don't worry about it, right? Like, seriously, don't worry about it. I was trying to do this for a friend, but I'm pretty much going to give up. And he was like, no, I'll find it for you, right? And so he couldn't find it either, but he probably spent about half an hour. He was kind of embarrassed, right? Because he was he spent half an hour looking for like a $4 bag of pumpkin seeds, right? So, right? Like, I was just like, I was, but really impressed, right? Because,
okay, but that's where, so bring it back to, because we digress as usual.
Yeah.
But there's people that we can actually tie it around.
Yep.
So if you come back to sort of what the Hubba thing is about, that's the guy who's going to win.
Yeah.
Like, that's the guy who will ultimately, is going to hurt for the next couple of years while we all figure out where this Amazon, Walmart marketplace, whatever, where this all lands.
Yeah.
But when it comes back around and you're looking for sort of that expert and you're looking for that, personal contact once we get way too much computerized.
Yeah.
More than we are now. I think we're going to be craving. I think humans do crave it. I think we have to be around people.
Yep.
So I think, a business like that, who's not a multinational, small, local, I think people will say, you know what, shit, let's just go back to those guys. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then I think your evolution for the Donald's guys will be them going, all right, I got it. I got Phil, I got Kenny.
Yeah,
So how do I now sort out, like as I'm going into the market and I'm doing the things I got to do to sort out brands and figure out who should be coming in and out, how do I now get Kenny and Phil to buy things that they never bought before? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that's experiential because then you and I are going to show up and go, oh shit, how did he know I would want that? Or that's super cool. And I trust him and he said I should try this, so I'm trying it, right? Like I'm going to go buy it, right? Like I think those are the moments that are coming for SMBs that are going to be really amazing.
And I
Yeah,
think you're right. And I think, when you look at what they could do, so if they saw something cool, like if that guy got to know you, let's say it was Gary, if he got to know you,
yeah,
on your 10th visit, you might say, listen, we haven't bought this. Tell me what you think of this.
yeah,
And he'll let you try something
yeah,
that, they might be considering because they're going to say, listen, as much as you trust them, they trust you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're looking for some, for some, hey, what do you think?
yeah, yeah.
See,
Which I
it's going
really
to become
love.
fun. Well, because
Yeah,
what business and retail is fun.
yeah.
This drag of all the listing fee bullshit and the
No,
co-op bullshit, like, I mean,
yeah,
that's not fun.
no,
And the problem is consumers don't see it and they don't care. They
no,
have no idea what we're even talking about,
no. No, they
right?
don't. They don't. They actually don't. They don't understand that at all, right? Like how many times have you been in a store, or how many times is you as the retailer, someone in your family will show up and go, "Hey, listen, like I was in another store, like I can get this. Why can't I get this here, right?" And you kind of go,
Yeah.
"Look here, here's why. Because that rep wanted, this listing fee, and like
And then you
all
buy
you get, all you get is, well, I don't get it. So
it.
you're
Yeah,
not gonna carry it, or like, are you gonna bring it in, or what? Like, I gotta go somewhere else, right? So yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, I think you're right. I think that's where I think, again, if you're a small retailer,
yeah,
I wouldn't pack it in yet. I think it's the time where really, if you really want to succeed, stay away from price. Don't get into that mess.
yeah,
Focus really, and I know it's overdone, and customer service. You got to get to know
yeah,
a bunch of your good customers because, even on a podcast like this, that we do have people Canada wide, there are now people potentially thinking, well, what is Donald's Market,
yeah,
right in
yeah,
the middle of
yeah,
Vancouver? I mean, honestly, and it's not a plug for them. I don't really, I just
yeah.
like them. I
No,
like their
yeah,
stores.
yeah,
It's just a cool
yeah,
little operation,
yeah, yeah,
right? And they are customer centric.
yeah,
That's nice.
yeah,
It's rare.
yeah. It's pretty
Sad to
amazing.
say.
Yeah, it is, it is. So I think it, yeah. So I think I've been doing a lot of that this week. Is just talking about how this applies, right? Because when you write it, the white paper is very well written. If anybody wants to read it, you can go to hubba.com and see it. But I think where it starts to translate is we're going kind of industry to industry and talking to associations and magazines and just trying to share it in context of those industries,
Yeah.
and giving them a sense of like, look, curation isn't this big word. It's literally, if you're a small business, you do it already. You got to do it better and faster, right? And then you're gonna reap the rewards from it, right? So yeah, yeah,
No, well, I totally agree with you. And I think,
yeah,
and yeah, I mean, it's just, but the typical challenges of this game, small businesses don't have, excuse me, these human resource training departments to run around. It's typically, you know, it's a family that's running it, and it's hard for them because they're not going to come and up and read stuff like this, and nor do they're thinking that's great, guys, but you know what? We got to put food on the table. This is all wonderful, but you know,
yeah. Yeah, I think the other part of this is going to be the tech, right? I mean, obviously we're all about plugs too, right? So there's a plug for Hubba in here, right? Like it's going to be like, SMBs are going to need tools to be able to sort out these brands, right? Like how many there are and all those sort of things. So, Hubba's one of those companies is going to help you sort out brands and help you figure out good from bad, right? And then at some point we're going to need some tech that helps us band economies together, right?
yeah,
So like you know, like these local markets, right? They're going to need to figure out how do they band together with other local markets across the country to,
yeah,
do some buying together some economic power, right? That allows them
But
to
that's
be able
maybe
to
where a hubba
leverage.
can be. The
So,
hubba can be sort of that spot. I mean, because conceptually, because you and I have talked about this,
hmm
outside of some web thing. I mean, I still have trouble with some parts of your hubba world.
yeah,
That's okay. That's a different topic. But conceptually, I love the idea of sort of bringing um, sellers and buyers together in a non-confrontational,
yeah,
very clean way. So, I mean, a hubba could be one of those places. And if it's not hubba, it'll be the next hubba, whatever that
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah,
That's kind of where, yeah, where you could link, a bunch of fruit stands together in the Okanagan and say,
yeah,
okay, guys, we're going to compete on this stuff, but all this
yeah,
shit here, you know what?
yeah, yeah,
We should really be thinking a little bit differently
yeah,
and trying to play it. How does this work?
yeah,
How can we work together a little bit?
yeah, yeah, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
gonna be. I don't know. I
yeah,
think a lot of cool things coming. I think retail's just
yeah,
gonna change. I mean, but
yeah,
I think honestly, I think the bigger brands are the ones that are gonna hurt the most,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? I really
yeah,
do. I think little brands will take a beating right now, but I think
yeah.
they're the ones that can come out ahead at the end.
All right, that's the end of this Commerce Life. We'll be back soon with the next episode. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. Give us feedback. Tell us what you think. Subscribe, like us, join us, share us, tell your friends about us. And we hope to see you next time with more commerce news.